Good morning. Make sure everything's working properly. Sound check. And it sounds good. Okay. Let's make sure my seconded monitor is working. Maybe not. Okay. Are you working? Hello, computer. Alright, we are working. Very good. Okay. Hello, good morning. I'm going to play some Endwalker. I'm really liking it so far. I haven't really gotten very far. But, yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, let's see here. So, I believe... we're hitting the books. So we'll leave that group in wherever they are. I think it's time to make a new free destination. Okay, our old shower line. Okay, and let's see if we can't get in the correct area here. Very pretty music. Do I really have none of those? I guess I didn't have any of those. Alright. Let's have a little talk with Fryle.
My directions are easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Numenon, Charlane's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that, for the archives of Numenon extend deep beneath the surface, like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the great Gubal library pale in comparison to Numenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Charlane is free to enter and peruse its shelves, well, most of its shelves. Only archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Istula and Rana to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alice and Alfino will help me to continue my search for the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you're only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. And even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Charlayan history or foreign policy. Your task is to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues you're looking for. Let's be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over once they've found there's some promising tomes. Happy reading!
Oh yes, course of study. Should be wonderful. Thank you. Oh, a bright colored book. Clearly this is what I want. Story of Charlane. Read the book? Yes. Long, long ago, on an island in the northern sea, there lived a Redengan man, and his name was Necremp. Necremph was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror the strangely churning waters drove the people toward the ocean. It was there, however, Necremph's crew hauled them aboard his ark, and the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Necremph wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop of Blatha's spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled together there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Necremph gathered his crew and his joyful passengers and abandoned the ark in those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast, where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Charlayan we live in to this day. Worlds of Old, The Colony, nope, don't need that one. It's a red-colored book. Well, this may even be bigger than the Library and Beauty of the Beast, the bound tome. The Voice of a Growing City. Read the book. In the years that followed the founding of Charlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided on Ecclesia, the public forum in which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The large number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays to vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions. But in the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Charlayan would transition into a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the forum as we know it today conceived and created. So they're speaking for everybody, not just for a few. Hey, honey. Good morning. Blue-covered book. Introduction to the Heavens? Nope. Don't need anything about aetherology or astrology right now. Well-worn manual. Forever 20 Summers? Nope. Don't need that one. It does indeed sound like the First World, though. And one of the Stewards of Wisdom. That sounds like history. Let's go. I get my bun. Yes. During the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Necremph, founder of Charlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the northern empty, he instructed the people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Charlayans took to heart the words of their Savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of minds rather than the strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth and coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Charlayan would live by their founder's teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, and for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war, and with knowledge deliver the world. Gain a fundamental understanding of Charlayan history and the foundation of the Forum. Head outside to the rendezvous point and await your companions. All right, I found what I needed in the library. I am in Charlayan. I am an Endwalker.
Oh.
So Charlayan is the city of learning, and it's a utopia that was built by the scholars of Eorzea. It was out of necessity after a great calamity. Unable to fulfill requirements, I need to be level 80. All right, let's go to level 80 then. Numenon, the pride of the stadium and the parent institution to the great Google Library. The massive collection of scrolls and tomes, the largest of its kind. Knowledge from every corner of the world is collected here, in efforts to compile the Bibliotheca Historica, the ultimate repository of wisdom in the world. And it is an endeavor without end. The Grand Library. Okay, so Endwalker. Here's kind of what's going on. We have eliminated all of the Ascians. They're gone. And what is left is the Empire. And the leader of the Empire, once is Xenos, had that grand moment with Pieter, and he wants an even grander moment. And so he's trying to bring about the end of the world to force the Warrior of Light into a final conflict with him. And that's the story. Now, they have petitioned the corners of the world for assistance, and the big corner is Charlayan, because they have knowledge of all of human history. They've gathered all of these tomes, and while certain aspects of Charlayan, like the students of Valdestian, were very favorable toward helping Eorzea, Charlayan is like, we don't do war, so leave us out of this. Y'all do your petty squabbles. We need to stay out of this.
Xenos is trying to end the world.
Right, and that's their thing. It's like, yeah, Xenos is trying to end the world, so like we gotta stop that. And they're like, oh no, if the world was ending, we would know. So one of the things that Charlayan is famous for is their glorious astrology. They are the leaders of the world in astrology. Part of their history is the grand astrologer who put everybody in an ark and took them to this island and saved the people of the world during the 6th Umbral Calamity. And so because they have their faith in this astrology, the stars are telling them they're fine. So they're like, we're good.
Oh, yay!
So,
do you remember when they were using astrology to predict when the dragons were going to strike?
Yep. So yeah, that's the story. We're trying to convince them to join the war. It's like, no, really, you need to join this. You really need to stop Xenos.
Yep.
Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I'd borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alvino and Kryl should also be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles of the Archon stacks mentioned in the final day specifically, and so we had no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes. They are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare, and share our discoveries as we make them. Would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read, ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and asked how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphanai and I were to return to Charlayan, we are not allowed to cross the threshold.
It's because they went in battle?
Right. He disowned them for going to battle.
A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position and that of the Form will perhaps lead to reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Charlayan, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ilsabard. In fact, for generations my people have dwelt in Corvus, a coastal region opposite the island of Thavnir.
The Alligans founded the city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Nakot to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes in the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the Fifth Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Kolos brazed the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allagan technology from being misused. Isn't Corvus under Garlean rule? In the past 50 years, yes, some semblance of the local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces. But Garlemald renamed the region Lucas Almunis. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allagan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allagan Eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. So far, I am loving the music of Endwalker, by the by. It's really good.
So there's background music right now?
Uh-huh. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and Allagan's traditions of Allag. As the last child born with the Allagan Eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the student of Valdestian, who had been registered as a Charlean citizen. I'd never considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Oh, even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louis, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Charleans than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origins, we all provided with equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient propagacity. We outsiders even earn the vaulted title of Archon. It is exactly why we love such love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Here. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the form's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom, of course. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books. Pieter, more company should be arriving any moment now. Sure. You have a very sagey look about me. Even though I'm a red mage. Well, we've returned with our selections. Although I must say the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Cryon has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention in them. As such, we'll be looking into research papers of the Umbral Calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source.
Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the few final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of the Almorot firsthand. I fear I may be overlooking critical details.
Well, sure, I can tell you all about it. There was fire. The end.
Well, my thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first. What kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh?
Well, a complete destabilization of the creation magics that they had relied upon. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wreaked havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors were raining from the sky, fire erupted from the ground. Indescribable abominations were prowling the streets.
Oh, that's more or less my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived into the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Ishla surmised that the closest known magic of that summoning rituals promulgated by the Asians. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days?
Olfano, you could answer this one. Me? Well, as you wish. The Amarantines were debating the cause of the anomaly which had been observed in the land across the sea. By that fact alone, we can deduce the final days occurred not all at once the world over, but rather had a point of origin from which it began to spread. Others also spoke of a keening sound rising from the land itself, just before our region was visited by catastrophe. We never did hear the sound ourselves, of course, thrust as we were into the midst of the madness.
So the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of the Nomino's mammoths, and ask after any books that make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take?
Well, they summoned Zodiac. That was their solution. Zodiac was going to save them. Yes, with Elidibus surviving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages from the final days. Life sprouted anew, and it was the fledgling souls they intended to render into Zodiac, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Venice and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Heidelin.
Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now that my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder about the Tenarfori, what they truly mean when they speak of bringing about the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. Is forcing people to summon primals a kind of catalyst? Or are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by the unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech? A convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash. This is all pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we?
We should keep an eye out for Ishtala. By this time, we begin studying these research papers. It is time, indeed. We're at the designated location again, as the sun has gone down and we have the night music. Oh, I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search into the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books. But it wouldn't get your hopes up. As you recall, Orion J. learned of the source's reflections from the Gerun oracles for its potential caused panic and confusion. The tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Google Library. It is even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, will be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason that then my colleagues, be they archons or consulars, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Faluchon with the knowledge of the Talafora and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us, which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself for reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. I was kind of hoping to. Like, you all have access to much more books than I do. I'm just a visitor, after all. You guys are citizens. You labor for what feels like an age as he stole his research assistant.
And you enjoyed it.
Indeed.
Oh dear, you look exhausted. What about your studies? Were you able to find any books in the subjects I mentioned? Oh, then the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a mammoth at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. You might be occupied with our research for quite some time.
I'm making all the new gear I get monk gear. If it's to gain Gratia's attention, go unnoticed. He appears to be lost in his reading.
Ready for tea break, Peter?
I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down at the harbour, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables. I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. So in this nation of learning, culinary pursuits were considered to be frivolous, and therefore they don't study how to make food that tastes good. They did have one scholar who basically insisted upon it, and so he set up the Last Stand, which is the only restaurant in the kingdom. It's in the capital, and it's very busy. Yeah, it's considered an unnecessary, what is it called when you have something that is, basically something that's very expensive and nice, but not necessary? Luxury.
Yes. They turn their nose down at luxury.
Pretty much, yeah. That doesn't have anything to do with learning, therefore it's bad.
As busy as ever, I see. I'm very sure, Elaine, that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me the idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions, engage the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about Telefori. We might even learn something new. It's worth a try, don't you think? Arthur's now accompanying you. Keep at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave LSA behind by entering a different area or by speaking with her and selecting the option to part ways. If you wish to have LSA accompany you again, return and speak with her at the original location. What is it? Can a man not enjoy a private respite? Moment of private respite. If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We are simply wondering if you knew about the Telefori. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all which we hold dear, and... Wait, you're that House-Leverrier girl, aren't you? And this man with you is obviously a foreigner of some kind. I'd heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge barbaric whims, and here you are giving truth to the rumor. I'll thank you to leave me be. I'm not to say the likes of you. Well, I must apologize. It was foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, Peter.
Polite insult.
Oh, yes. So, yes, that is a new thing in Endwalker, is you can have a person follow you around and comment as you talk to people. You saw it a little bit in Final Fantasy XVI crossover with the guy who had Ifrit. In Final Fantasy XIV, you had the guy from Final Fantasy XVI that you found. That's where you got Doggo.
Okay.
He followed you around town when you talked.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome.
That was like,
What are you talking? It was on your face. Like, what are you even talking about? All right.
Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Pray excuse the interruption. We were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Telefori and their unconscionable plans. Oh, my goodness, if it isn't the young Miss Leverrier. My apologies, but I work for the officers of the Forum, and if word reached Master Fortunato that I was helping you... I see. Sorry to have bothered you.
so she's being treated with silence.
Yeah, her father is very powerful, and she is not welcome. Dixon, welcome, sir. Sorry, I don't usually say my name out loud. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mistress Alice Say I see there? My word! How long has it been?
Far too long. Meet Dixon, owner of the Last Stand.
I used to frequent his cafe on occasion, in between lessons at the stadium. It seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alfino had set sail for Eorzea, and then you never came back. Lately, there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Is everything all right at home?
It's complicated. I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems.
Well, it is House Lavalier. No matter how discreet Master Falchinol may have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now, of all times?
Well, we have questions, and only Charlayans have the answers. Tell me, Master Dixon, have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days?
What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. But that's what you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse?
Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me.
I wish there was more I could do to help. Well, maybe there is. You're visitors to Charlayan, aren't you?
I am.
Well, then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server, and none the wiser. Just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food. You may just get the answers you're looking for.
That's not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think?
Does it really matter what I think? We're doing this anyway. That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes need to go. The tea sets for the chatty group sitting near the water's edge. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to remember this. The omelets for our regulars, the Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting on the outside table with a friend of hers. Okay. Behind them, you see the Makot gentleman. Behind them, you see the Makot gentleman over the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck. Okay, that's better. Right.
Here's your tea. Oh, my tea set. Lovely, thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. The Telefahu, oh, I'm sorry, I've never heard of them or their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear about the ritual, arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or esoteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Out above, I'm starving. I've never known the service to be this slow. Here's your omelet. Oh, finally. 462-468. Let's dig in. No time to waste. Oh, have you heard anything about the final days rumor I'm hearing? The Telefori. Oh, yes, I remember seeing that name in the latest Gazette. That and some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The four made the right choice, and I fully support a decision to remain neutral. Makot. Here's your lobster. At last the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. Oh, that's wonderful. You get to eat it right before the end of days by the Teletori. The final days? That's the first I've heard of it. That's the wrong voice. Here we go. Although it would explain why my friend has rushed off his feet. It would be a busy time to be a gleaner. Oh? You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort who travel the world procuring items. They haven't got here in Charlayan. Priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. And so named by the folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. I know the Count's gleaning is a most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Telefori make good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Oh, why else would the gleaners be buzzing around in such a frenzy? Now watch the harbour, you'll see what I mean. They're cutting loads in from the docks all day. I've never been this hectic before, not like this.
So some people are acting upon the final days threat.
Right. It's time to collect all the goods. Any trouble with the customers? We able to get anyone talking? Well, that McColt back there was happy to tell me all about the collectors going crazy. Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Dixon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. The Forum does have secret knowledge, and they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. Dang, coffee sounds really good. But let's enjoy our drinks somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossip and their wagging tongues.
You haven't acknowledged the gleaners.
Nope. Not even a little bit. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight. Smokey's like, Brad's streaming, and you're in the chair that I usually sit in.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's not Saturday.
Oh, wow, God, it does sound really good.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant.
It's pretty horrible.
Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Charlian? Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy. To keep us at arm's length, perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
They're certainly gathering a lot of goods.
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. A vast complex beneath the island, Charlian is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility.
It's a grand zoo.
Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait, didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual?
Yep, indeed.
I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum.
So they're collecting and hoarding things from around the world.
If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Indeed.
Sounds like they're trying to create a new life.
Does sound like it. So they're secretly making another arc. We should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to Numenon. I'll join you in a moment. Master Dickon would want his cups back. shopping. Mm-hmm. With the bunny man, especially.
Welcome back, Peter. Welcome back, Peter. Been for a walk and cleared your head, have you?
Not exactly. We did some impromptu investigating and turned up information on the Gleaners. And did. So, this, that, and the other. They seem to be gathering lots of crap. Maybe for another arc?
It makes sense. The Gleaners take their requests directly from institutions and bureaucrats. But as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic and in cargo. It certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion.
Let's see what theory we can build up from the facts. As Ishtar observed earlier, Numenon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what Pieter and Alice said at last stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Charlayans know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetuated by the Telephor is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims that be so occupied with the duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale.
I do not think it a stretch to conclude the Gleaners' recent activities are in service of the Forum's secretive ends.
Wow, the sky is so pretty.
In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves. And if we're lucky, the Gleaners would be far more receptive to our questions.
What should we expect down there?
Oh, I would hate to spoil the surprise.
Oh, thanks.
As for myself, there are a few more subjects I'd like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place.
That would be a great help. Thank you, Raha.
Let's head down the stairs over there, and I'll show you where your entrance is. All right. So as I recall, the area of Charlayan we'd been before had a great, like a zoo kind of place, an arboretum, that had a lot of very dangerous creatures that attacked us.
Yes.
Ready? Labyrinthos is not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorienting. I'll take the lead, so stay close. Although I'll say and try not to fall too far behind. I'll say set off at a brisk walk. Off we go then. Brisk.
They make it easy.
The word they used was brisk. Pleasant here amongst the trees. We really should move along.
Yeah, go faster. You walk faster than she does.
Over this way. Now we run. Try to keep up. Keep the path straight ahead. We cross this bridge. Up here. The rostra, not far now. There has been some chasing scenes already in the game. So, like, following people and leading people are things we do. Here we are, through this door and down the stairs. You did remember to attune to the shard back there, didn't you? It'll make your life much easier if you need to come back in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving.
Are you attuned to the shard?
Oh yes, I attuned to all the shards.
Ah,
One of the first things I did when I got here.
would wander around.
Mm-hmm. Tuning to everything. Hey, look, that's a chocobo keep. There's a lift operator. Well met, traveler. May I interest you in the chocobo porter? Oh, don't tell me. This is your first visit to this stop. I shall update my register with your name. You may access this location in the future. Awesome.
Well, here now, yes? I've taken the liberty of securing permission for a group's descent. Right, everyone out of the lift and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Labyrinthos. Yep,
It doesn't seem so.
indeed.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlian itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
So built inside a volcano, huh? I'm sure that won't have any kind of consequences.
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Certainly seems that way.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Ugh.
You all right?
Did you call to me just now?
No. Maybe it was Heidelin.
No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
This isn't important in any way. Let's just ignore it.
Let's just ignore her hearing voices.
Yeah, there's
Sure, voices are caused by dizziness. Yeah.
makes sense to me. Every time I get dizzy, I start hearing voices. What's that, Davin? You want to know what I'm hauling? I'm hauling books, and ore, and fauna. If it needs hauling, I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock at Liberantos, you know. Sort and tidy up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this before, though. They just did one a few summers ago, even. Then with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in our laps. Orders from up on high. Damned if I know the reason. Could be they're changing the layout, huh? Preparing for the next big expansion? Change of Dublin has taught you the taking stock in Labyrinthos. Yeah, they're preparing to survive a calamity.
Yep.
Let me think. The Rhea seeds should be item 1058, and Cumin seeds 1059, and Snurfleberry 1060, or were they 1061? Oh, my head feels like it's stuffed with Moko grass. Why more loads to take out than carry in? Why do they do this all at once and risk mixing it up? It's as if someone mistakes the Corinthians carrots for the Garabania carrots. What then? Your exchange of tips taught you large shipments coming in and out of Libranthos. He does that.
You're here to... Sorry. Let's do a different voice for this guy. You're here to help the gather give me more headaches. Because you don't have the look of a gleaner, and I'm in no mood for idle chatter. One of the colleagues is so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into the pile of crates. Now I have a pack of marmots running loose.
Exchange at Aaronville has taught you about exhausted gleaners.
Any luck, Peter? What tales do the gleaners have to tell?
Oh, yeah. You okay?
Oh, he moans a lot. It's because he's bored.
Were you bored, kitty?
Oh, so this grand operation began without warning, and for every item they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else? That would explain the haggard faces I've been seeing. We were right. The Forum is definitely up to something, and they're turning Labyrinthos upside down in the process.
New athletic destination is available. Skulker's lost in thought.
We'll do well to learn more of what specifically the Gleaners are being tasked to do, as well as who's tasked them to do it. If you're game, Peter, I have an idea.
You want me to act like a gleaner?
Did one of those Gleaners you mentioned questions say something about escaped marmots? Perhaps if we were to help them capture said creatures, we might be inclined toward more friendly and enlightening conversation.
Sure.
In the meantime, I'll turn my charms upon this Gleaner here. We can compare notes afterward. Happy hunting!
Did I pack away my official greens? I did. Whoops.
Hey, maybe I can help you with your marmots.
You wish to help me find the marmots? I'm nothing suitable to pay you for your services, but if you're offering out of the goodness of your heart, I welcome the assistance.
Oh, sure.
My name is Aaronville, friend. Specialist in the collection of live specimens. That said, the capture of Nigel's marmots is a trial I have no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, they call them. For mercy, there are no other marmot species in this tier at present, so there should be no mistaking their little fugitives. If they happen to catch any, stuff them in a sack. Gently, of course. Where to begin, you wonder? I have not seen any scampering around here, so we'll need to widen our search in the surrounding forest. Be on your guard. There are beasts out there. Don't hesitate to prey on the marmot. Or on you, for that matter. I'll search the trees to the west. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck.
Sure thing. Thornvale Forest. What is this vent? I think I see a grizzled mouse. Or the hunting coyote. That's all of them? Alright. Chip squeak. Barely have you readied the sack with the grizzled mouse scampers off into the underbrush. Well, that's just a little frustrating, isn't it? Go enjoy the forest, though. I think I see a grizzled mouse in the distance. Uh-oh, more enemies have joined the fray. Well, look, it's a hunting troll. Hey there, hunting troll. Alright, grizzled mouse, get in the bag. Squeak! Rodent nimbly evades your grasp and once more is disappearing into the trees. Why, you little son of a mother. Maybe up here? That's a grizzled mouse. Chirp. Get in the sack. Squeak, squeak. More prepared for its speed this time, you succeed in closing the sack over your elusive quarry. I have successfully captured your whatever this was. Mouse? I guess it was like, what, a mechanical mouse? Well, whatever. The robot is taken care of. Don't mind that guy, he's just trolling. Excuse me, do you have a moment? I have an urgent task to attend to, and I could use some assistance. As a supervisor of this sector, I was concerned with how cool the air in Moment Forest felt as I walked through my usual rounds. Ordinarily, it should be a touch more humid. My colleagues assures me that the gauges are displaying acceptable temperatures, and, well, hinted I was being oversensitive. My instincts, however, inform me otherwise. Would you mind assisting me with a more thorough investigation? Sure, I can do that. Thank you. Payment will be forthcoming, of course, but first, let us begin by assessing the problem from within the forest itself. Mulatto greets you with wide-eyed hope. Ahem. Hello there, friend. Fancy lending a hand to a gleaner in need. Sure. I'm fairly new to all this cleaning business, and it's only proper that someone with the requisite experience deliver this very important Uldan chemical compound to the research facility. You know, the one sort of the way to the west. Why not ask a fellow gleaner? Oh, I couldn't do that. They'd make me seriously. Never take me seriously again. No, I need someone bold and brave and connected to the social circles. In other words, an itinerant adventurer like you. I could do it myself, of course, but duty calls. Just deliver this package to someone in a position of seniority. I promise I'll be back here to pay you for the favor. One of these days.
Before I run off, let's grab this other thing, and then I need to use the restroom. Hey there, Green Gleaner. How can I help you?
Excuse me, you aren't the one who's been assisting Arundel. If you have a moment, you could use some help with a certain task.
Sure, what do you need?
Simply put, I'm to hunt down a number of caribou. This is my first job I've accepted, which requires a degree of violence, and I'm not entirely confident on how I should approach my prey. You seem like the type of man who's seen his fair share of combat. What if I could observe you from concealment while you engage my target fauna? I wouldn't need you to spend all day on this, of course. 1 or 2 examples in the forest west of here should be plenty. Let's say 2, shall we? I'll even pay you. Please?
Sure. Alright. Before I forget, I want to get close to this other one and just kind of hang out there for a bit. Alright, be right back. Okay.
Well, how did you fare? I tracked down 3 of the pack, which leaves 1 unaccounted for. Well, I got the 4th one right here. Ah, that's the odd marmot out. Wait there a moment while I put our friends into a holding cage. Thankfully, the marmots seem to be unharmed. We've held up well. They've held up well in isolation. It's too soon, much too soon, to release them into the habitat. That's a good thing we were able to recapture them so quickly. You have me thinks. Well, that should have captured them in the first place. Oh, an authority in charge of Labyrinthos, now in perpetuity. The same officials who've had us working day and night of late. The honorable members of the Forum. Who else? Suitable for consumption and easy to breathe. These are two conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know what the Forum was planning for these creatures, but at the very least, I doubt they'll be served for dinner today or tomorrow. Love you too, kitty.
Well, there you are, Peter.
Sorry. Well, there you are, Peter.
Is this the gleaner you mentioned? The one who was looking for lost marmots?
Oh yeah, that's the one. Interesting company you keep, friend. Who are you folk, anyway?
I'm Kral, the students of Valdestian. These others are my associates. Truth be told, the Forum's decision of late would not sat entirely well with us, which is why we made the descent into Labyrinthos. Who hoped that by seeing these decisions put into action, we might be more fully understanding their reasoning.
Well, why isn't practical? Never hurts to try and gain a broader perspective, now does it? Anyway, duty calls. Other animals are to capture and enclosures to empty. Once again, I'm sorry that I can't offer you more for your services. See you later.
Did you learn anything new from our friend here?
Well, maybe a little bit. Looking for food sources.
So we've confirmed the order of the ambitious operation did indeed come directly from the Forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. And that fits with everything we've heard thus far.
You've also discovered that when the operation was begun, the Forum contacted the Gleaners Guild ship to put their people to this great work some 4 days after the Telefori made their chilling declaration. As seasoned travelers, the Gleaners keep abreast of news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Thus am I inclined to trust that the calendar of events is accurate. Altogether, it gives a distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden and unexpected development. Yet I find it hard to believe that such comprehensive restructuring of Labyrinthos and its archives could be planned in so brief a window.
No, this plan was long in the making. They were but awaiting the right time to put it into effect. And the Telefori's declaration was that set it all in motion. It seems likely, but let us not leap into conclusions just yet. For the moment, I suggest we conduct a wider investigation of Labyrinthos. The more facilities we visit, the more pieces of the puzzle we stand to find. In that case, how about we head to the Acheon? From there, we can reach the lower... Oh. Alice, eh? What's wrong? I'm fine, truly. The sudden descent has left me with a bit of a headache, that's all. Nothing that'll stop me from soldiering on. Let us be about it, then. At least allow me to take the lead. I'm very certain I can remember the way to the Acheon. You follow the path east through the forest which you are chasing after that mouse, or marmot, was it? Anyway, it is the trolls you'll need to watch out for. All right. In that case, I'll head west first. Get the stuff in the wrong direction out of the way. Actually, no. I'm going to head here first. Nope, we're heading back this way. Let's milk caribou.
that thing readying a poop attack of some kind? Oh, I didn't hit that attack with the third one. Oh, whatever. I've done it anyway. Somebody's too. Get that bunny. Get that pink. Hey there, senior researcher. What is it? May I help you? There's an alchemical compound. I assume you needed it? Ah, yes, the Ildon compound. Excuse me, but whatever happened to the gleaner I was told to expect? You don't quite match his description. What, I'm a little taller, or what? I grew. And so you're here in his stead. I thought that might be the case. This facility primarily studies small Vilkin and their ilk, and their role as carriers of disease. As such, we seem to have become the subject of some rather unsettling, not to mention wholly unsubstantiated rumors. I imagine some senior gleaner was amusing himself by taunting this junior colleague with scary half-truths and outright fabrications. The scholar lent him patience, but it's just laid no end of trouble for us. In any case, I thank you for bringing me my delivery. Should you happen to return to our faint-hearted gleaner, pray do me the service of setting him straight on what it is we do here. They make monsters. Oh. I was hoping I would get another thing to unlock, but oh well. It's actually fine. Hey there, Green Cleaner. Oh, thank you for the instruction. While I doubt I could emulate your particular style, seeing you in action was enormously helpful. You've also provided a service by culling a few of the labyrinth's more prolific animals. Lest you worry, it's essential we reduce the caribou's numbers every now and again to maintain a stable habitat. And nothing here is killed for mere sport. Every part of the carcass is harvested and put to use, a practice I'll make sure to carry out with the creatures used to. There's still a few more that need culling, but I think I can handle that on my own now. Well, such is the gleaner's lot, and I should learn how to do it sooner rather than later. Oh, here's your payment. Wish me luck. Of course. Not a lotto, huh? Oh, you're back, and not suffering from any horrible maladies. Well, nothing visible, anyway. Oh, I got some horrible disease from what they did there. You think? What's that? Oh, you think someone's having a laugh at my expense? But the others told me. They said the research considered as forbidden substance from Moldar that could concoct some type of zombie powder, and the gleaners who deliver it are never seen or heard from again. And that does sound a rather bit unlikely now that I say it out loud. You little lying bastards. Right, well, here's what I owe you. That's a little extra for keeping quiet. Got the buff, I'll never live this down. What's up, outer circuit researcher? Take a close look at this mist sprayer. You'll find these devices throughout Mornvale Forest. I need you to see if they're functioning properly. Nothing too complicated. If the sprayer's crystal's growing blue, then it means it's working. If the crystal's dull, then it's most likely broken. Here, I'll jot down the location of the sprayers. I wasn't able to check yet. Meanwhile, I'll go and see if there are any problems with the mist loom. It's the big tower over there responsible for regulating the sprayers. They can be our meeting spot once we finish checking the devices. All right. Back to red maging. That first mist sprayer looks pretty blue to me. Admittedly, I don't know what I'm looking for, but hey, I'm following the instructions as given. Crystal's glowing blue. The mist sprayer appears to be functioning correctly. It's not the heat, it's the humidity. Bye, love. Have a good day at work. Have a good day at your appointment, and then a good day at work. Please make sure to get me some more allergy medicine. Okay, cool. Thanks, bye. Crystal's glowing blue. The mist sprayer appears to be functioning correctly. Oh, this one's not working. The sprayer's case is cracked and the crystal within is inert and dull. The device appears to be malfunctioning. Other Misdoom techniques can detect nothing awry with the tower's workings. Any issues with the sprayers? A little. Aha! So there was a malfunction after all. The sprayer's job is to keep this area blanketed in mist, to accurately simulate the moist-laden air of certain forest habitats. One broken device had no effect on the temperature, but the humidity had fallen out of the optimal range. If we hadn't caught the change, we would have started seeing an adverse effect on the forest's flora and fauna. Nice work, but I didn't bring your payment with me. Come back to Upper Akanook, and we'll settle accounts there. All right. Good morrow. How are you, Bruni? You just missed Wifey. She just left. How are you today? Dang it. Yeah, you just missed her. I meant to ask, that game you were playing, was it like Disney Heroes or something like that? How was that game? I meant to ask you whenever you raided the other day, or yesterday. Thank you again for agreeing to help. It goes to show that... And I can't fly here. Bye, Wifey. Yes, also good. Waking up. And yay, Disney Dreamlight Valley. Nice chill game. Farming game. Nice. I have to check that out. Oh, there's something over there I need to do. Oof, the mount speed. Yeah, they're off for now. Know how you are about farming games. It's similar to Animal Crossing in a way. Also like Stardew. Okay. Never really played any of those games. I never really tried them out. So I don't know how I would feel about them. Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about them. I like 4-H games if it's anything like that at all. And if it's not, I'm trying to think what else would be similar. The old school real-time strategy games, which I was never really a big fan of. I've played those though. Behold the Archon. As Numenor serves as Charlayan's literary archive, so does the structure house of the city's wells and material data. The architecture, too, is similar. This building you see is merely the upper entrance, an access point to the vaults carved in the cliffside itself. For those vast rooms are stored countless samples and specimens, as well as the detailed records that describe them. In a manner of speaking, the Archeon contains a physical history of Charlayan's unwavering dedication to the accumulation of knowledge. Alright, cool. Oh wow, this place exploded with quests. I was getting into the Archeon with an appraising look. If we won't find anything of value standing around here, let us proceed into the main building and speak with the custodian. Alright. Well met, traveler. May I introduce you to Chocobo Porter? Oh, don't tell me this is your first time here. At least be able to start hatching canal. You look strong, sturdy, and most importantly, idle. Which is a wonderful coincidence, as I'm in need of a spare pair of hands. Let me explain. Oh, yeah? I sent one of my younger colleagues off to the Tholos to organize a shipment of ore, but after a second glance at the order sheet, I realized what was taking them so blasted long. Seems the order was more than triple the size we usually handle. Something to do with all those large-scale preparations, I suppose. I can hardly expect that pup to shift it all on his lonesome. Come and pitch in with the hauling, and I'll make it worth your while. What say you? I might be able to do that. Good, many hands make light work, or lighter at least. Let's go. File. I'm sorry to bother you, but might I ask a small favor? There we go. I just saw the gleaner I'd hired for a job, and he seemed awfully, well, jittery. I suppose that's the word. And when I tried to ask him what the matter was, he met my eyes for a moment and then bolted out of the room. I should like to catalog the items he was meant to bring and get them safely stored, but I refuse to play this ridiculous game of Crow and Mouse. Would you mind tracking him down for me? Last I saw of him, he was dashing off toward Parasamon's Partufix. Big fancy words. You have the air of a dangerous competence, and you're most certainly not Charlayan. Yes, you do nicely. For what I may ask, as the overseer of the wildlife in this sector, I often find myself in need of new volunteers to help with the feed, and while I'm perfectly content to perform the task myself, it would be unwise to allow the carnivores to grow too accustomed to my scent, or that any of my colleagues for that matter. Which is why I'm pleased to encounter fresh meat like you, if you'll excuse the phrase. Let's say you to a brief foray into the forest. To be provided with the suitable repellents, of course. Sure, I can do that. Wonderful. Here are the hunks of raw flesh, and just set them down at those locations. Hurry back as soon as you're done. Okay, and while we're here, let's attune. Attune. So yeah, I should be done with Endwalker proper, I believe, by the time that touch all the crystals. Yes, must touch all the crystals. But I should be done with Endwalker proper, I think, by the end of the month, which is right around the time that the next expansion is being released, Dawnbreakers. So I should be able to get that and just kind of start working on that stuff around that time. That is, of course, assuming the Endwalker is about the same length as the other expansions, which I've been told it is not. So we'll see. It'll be all right. I just need to. Oh God, what did I do? Need help with something? I asked the gleaner to help bring me a lively Coblin specimen. But perhaps I was a tad too insistent on the lively part. The thing flung itself about with such force that it broke the wall of my enclosure and escaped. For a moment I considered chasing after it myself, and then I realized it would likely beat my soft academic frame to a bloody pulp. You, on the other hand, seem to possess a rather high degree of fortitude. The last I saw, I was skittering off toward the Morvale forest. Please track down and subdue this frisky fugitive. Stuff it in this sturdy sack and bring it back here to me. My humble gratitude will be yours, as well as a generous reward. Sounds awesome. Talk about gemstone trader. In the market for something on a rarer side. Got a whole village's worth of surplus in the Archeon, some of which can even be yours for the bicolor gemstones. Exchange for Robros now available for Archeon. Now access to the region's gemstone exchange. Should bicolor gemstones provide of rare and exclusive items. Successfully completing local fates will offer you a safe delivery of goods in the region, increasing the number of items available for exchange. Currently, they got diddly. Okay. Let's talk to this person first. Ngali.
Sir, if you could hold out your hand, I have something you really must eat. Please, I insist.
This isn't the deadly poison, is it?
Is that not the juiciest, sweetest, most invigorating thing you've ever tasted? I just finished baking a batch, and judging by your somewhat wan complexion, I thought you could use a little treat. Oh, don't worry, I know exactly why I'm feeding you. Though I've settled here in this haven of archived cultural treasures, I was once a student of the nutritional sciences of the Faculty of Medicine. The knowledge of that course certainly comes in useful when it comes to keeping my weary colleagues healthy and hale, though I do struggle to find the time to collect all the ingredients I need. In fact, I wonder if you'd be willing to help in that regard. I was about to head out and gather some things east of here, but if you could scour the area to the northwest for a couple of rotting logs, I'd be ever so grateful.
All right. The Archean Custodian. Greetings. We're here to peruse the Archeon's vaults. Peruse? You're clearly not gleaners, then. Might I ask your affiliation?
We belong to the students of Valdestian, but is that relevant? I was given to believe that the vaults are open to the public. At least we're open to the public.
Ordinarily, yes, that would be the case. At present, however, access is restricted. Only persons directly involved with the reorganization efforts are permitted to enter. That's weird.
Not us, then.
Sorry.
Not us, then. I suppose we'd better move along to another facility. This building has a lift that connects to the middle tier, yes? Might we at least make use of that?
Service has also been suspended, I'm afraid. For the time being, priority has been given over to the conveyance of inventory.
What? So this is as far as we can go?
I apologize for the inconvenience. Please come again after our restructuring operation is concluded.
By that time, it'll be too late. We'll be so close to gaining answers. We need to rethink our approach. Let us step outside for the moment, shall we?
All right. Students of Valdestian, huh? What's going on there? Cannibal Dry is the name of the individual. That's actually funny.
We had an impasse. As we have no other leads, we should like to peruse this one further. I doubt that our stone-faced custodian will be swayed by heartfelt pleas. We must seek another means to access the lower levels. It is likely that people in the area are involved in the restructuring in one way or another. If we were to ingratiate ourselves, they might allow us to accompany them on the lift. Let us ask around. Surely someone's in need of a few strong backs to lighten the load.
All right. Well, there's a triple triad match I have to do, so we'll get that out of the way. And then we'll get the rest here. Spot of Triple Triad sounds lovely. I can use the cards I stored here. Unfortunately, I can't find instructions for the game itself, so you'll have to teach me as we go along. Well then. Reverse. Oh. That's gonna suck. Ah, red wins. I just unfortunately happened upon a reverse game. One ace, chaos, 3 open. Okay, I can win this. He said confidently. Yep. Hooey. Still get the win. Alas, it appears I've lost. I wonder if there are some better cards stored in here somewhere. Perhaps I'll ask my colleagues if they have any to trade. All right. Lightly built lab assistant.